So, have you ever played Hades or Dead Cells and asked yourself, what if this was more like Super Smash Bros.? No, you probably haven't, that's a very specific thought, but regardless, Spiritfall is the answer to that question nobody asked. I'm happy to report that the result is probably one of the best action roguelites I've ever played. Spiritfall wastes almost no time getting you straight into the action. You're chosen by the Great Spirits to carry the perennial flame to unseal the Great Gate in order to restore their strength, and that's about it. It's straightforward enough, but if you're curious to take a deep dive, there's more than enough to sink your teeth into if you're so inclined. But that's not why we're here. We're here to wombo combo bad guys, and Spiritfall has that in spades. The combat in Spiritfall is utterly captivating, and successfully emulates the easy-to-learn, difficult-to-master gameplay of the platform fighters that inspired it. The tools at your disposal are simple enough. You have your regular attacks that have both aerial and grounded variants, launchers which act as your heavy attacks, a quick-firing ranged bolt on a short cooldown, a powerful assist ability on a longer cooldown, and of course, a dash that serves as a dodge and a mobility option. It's extremely intuitive and should come naturally to anyone who experiences PTSD after getting downbeat by their little sibling playing Kirby and Smash Bros. The difference here, though, is that since this is a single-player game, the fighting game aspects are made even easier to execute. Hitboxes from your attacks are extremely generous, making whiffs a rarity. Hit stun on enemies is more than long enough to make almost anything combo into each other, and most animations and end lag from attacks can be cancelled by utilizing your dash or bolt. Plus, unlockable mobility options such as Pounce, Wave Dash, and Directional Influence further lend a surprising amount of depth to movement. All of these small touches work together to create an incredibly approachable learning curve where you'll go from simply spamming normal attacks like a chump to darting around the arena juggling multiple enemies at once like it's nothing. The game even has these rift battles that sometimes pop up that are your traditional fighting game 1v1. You ever watch something like a melee combo video and go, "Wow, I wish I could do that"? Well, in this game, you can! The weapons that make all of this possible kick so much ass. There are 5 base weapons, each having an alternate form with completely new movesets, effectively making 10 available weapons. Their movesets are all extremely unique from one another, and I've thoroughly enjoyed using every single one. The Battle Hammer Axe is a slow but reliable weapon with crazy knockback on its launch attacks. The bow offers a mix of short and long-ranged options that make it incredibly versatile. The Link Blades have several multi-hit moves that make it effortless to lock down and juggle enemies across the stage, as well as its launcher acting as a grapple to help close the distance, which makes for some cool-looking follow-ups. If I had to pick a favorite though, I'd have to pick the Equinox. At first, it's a fairly unassuming scythe weapon with a slow but hard-hitting moveset. After charging a launcher though, wha-bam! Bow staff, bitch. You can even bat the scythe head around the arena and recall it back to do this sick move, and this is seriously one of the coolest weapons I've used in a video game. If you play Spiritfall, unlock this immediately and thank me later. The design of the rogue elements are practically one for one with that of Hades, which can be a good or bad thing depending on your taste, but I think it works nicely here. During a run, there are 7 different spirits offering their own blessings and augments. Each spirit has their own archetype, such as Not Jolteon being centered around attack speed and mobility, or the gay wolf inside you being focused on burst damage and crits. They all have their ups and downs. Blessings can take advantage of the weapons with faster attack speed by quickly stacking debuffs, or benefit slower, harder-hitting weapons by buffing their knockback capability. After experimenting with all of them, I found the spirits' different abilities and bonuses to be pretty well balanced, lending to a good amount of build variety to complement whatever weapon or playstyle suits you best. And of course, being a roguelite, there is a substantial amount of meta progression where you'll become decidedly stronger after getting some runs under your belt. I always had enough resources to unlock a few upgrades after every run, and it never really felt like a grind. One aspect of run progression that I think is really cool is the weapon enchantment system. During combat, you'll acquire a resource called Essence from defeating enemies. How much of this essence you acquire is determined by a multiplier on the bottom right side of the screen, which increases by landing hits and decreases when taking damage or not attacking. A higher multiplier means more essence gained from non-boss enemies. You can then spend this essence between floors on weapon upgrades for that run. The higher your multiplier, the more essence you receive, and the more essence you have, the more upgrades you can buy for that run. What's great about these upgrades is that they're potent without feeling mandatory, and you'll still acquire a set amount of essence from rift encounters and boss battles, meaning you're not left out to dry if you're getting hit a lot. I find this to be a better way of rewarding skillful play as opposed to something like the master rounds from Enter the Gungeon, which were only rewarded from killing a boss without taking a single hit, which led to several points of frustration where I wanted to summit 1G my computer.
Getting offline, guys, later!
Enemies and biomes are varied enough to keep things relatively fresh from run to run, with unique enemy types and room layouts exclusive to their respective biomes. What I think is noteworthy though is how the actual room layouts can play a role in how you approach a given combat encounter. Hitting enemies off of walls deals bonus damage, and as such can be a vital tool in quickly clearing mobs. Some areas will be heavily cramped with low ceilings, letting you ping-pong enemies around with high knockback moves, giving them almost no time to retaliate. Alternatively, some rooms will be wide open, leading you to rely on your normal attacks for damage and resorting to your launcher to give yourself some breathing room if needed. Additionally, some encounters like the aforementioned rift battles in the final biome offer arenas to knock out opponents in true platform fighter fashion. It all gives each biome their own identity and keeps any given run from overstaying its welcome. Finally, of course I gotta give props to the presentation and music. It's not the most visually stunning game ever, but it has some nice things going for it. Some animations in particular run at a lower frame rate than the gameplay and creates a visual juxtaposition that just looks neat. I don't know, I'm a sucker for this kind of stuff. Also, shoutouts to the little shopkeeper. Look at this dude. Listen to the sounds he makes. I love him. Certified lil guy. Audio-wise, Spiritfall fares just as well, with particularly punchy sound effects when striking enemies that have just the right amount of oomph to them, especially the sound that plays when landing a sweet spot hit. The soundtrack is also solid, with the first area theme being an earworm for me for reasons that don't involve me dying and starting over a lot. As for the bad stuff, I'd say the first and second boss fights are kind of lacking compared to the others. The first boss is a complete pushover even with the unlockable difficulty modifier that makes the bosses harder. It can be kind of fun to see how long you can juggle her, but she's kind of a doormat overall. The second boss is a gank fight, which yeah, gank bosses can work sometimes, but I feel like in general, gank bosses are right up there with escort missions in terms of being one of the most hated things in gaming. This schmuck with the bow in particular can go fuck himself. My other more nitpicky thing is with the blessings. A lot of the blessings are just different variations of X% more damage from behind or above or sideways and slantways and longways and backways and frontways and squareways.
And any other ways that you can think of.
This dilutes the pool away from what I found to be some of the more interesting options, which may cause things to get a little stale after a while. It's not something that's particularly bothered me, but it's something I've seen others mention, and I think it's a valid criticism. And, well, that's about it, really. I don't have a whole lot of bad stuff to say about this game. So yeah, this game is pretty much a dream come true for me. I remember playing the adventure mode in Smash Bros. Melee over and over and over again when I was a kid, and Spiritfall is pretty much that expanded into an entire game in a roguelite format. Knocking enemies all over the arena, making up dumb strings of combos and attacks as you go just feels really good. I heavily recommend checking it out if you even have a passing interest in this weird hybrid of genres it's got going on here. If you do, just make sure not to leave a negative review, or else I'll give you the Clown Award on Steam. You might be thinking, wow, internet review guy, that sure is a really petty and pathetic thing to do. Yeah, it sure is.